Alright, I was gonna try to make a big fucking deal out of this and put it on the main channel, but I could never figure out what time was the right time. When is the right time to promote your Patreon? Is it when you're about to do shit? When you just got done doing shit? When you've opened up a new thing? When you're still trying to figure shit out? When you figured shit out, but then you're not sure where things are going next? I don't fucking know, man. So I'm just doing it right now so that it actually happens. A few months back, I changed all of my Patreon rewards in a pretty major way to a system that has been working out extremely well for me, both in terms of being able to provide rewards that are fun for me to create and highly beneficial to me in that the amount of money I make for them is really good for me and that they are rewarding in some way. So, the current state of the Patreon is thus. As it has been, anybody who patrons at all gets into my Discord server for patrons where people talk about whatever the fuck. There's a lot of people in there. It can be fairly active. I only really look at the board that discusses my own content, but people talk about all kinds of shit. So then you also get access to an archive of videos of mine that have been deleted off the internet. Most of them are on the older side because these days I usually fight to try to get my videos back. But there are some videos from even recent years that I've completely lost from YouTube that are only available in this archive. You also get access to this gigantic number of commentaries that me and my editor, the Devu, were doing for a long time. And we haven't been doing them anymore because they just take too long to make and don't fit into our schedules well. Um, so and they were also really difficult to host on the internet. We had to ended up putting them on BitChute, and they seem to be doing fine there. And I also haven't found every single one of them, but most of them are up. These are just hours and hours and hours. There's like days, I think, worth of us commentating over my videos and like how we made them, what the thought process was, what we would change about them if we recreated them today is often a big part of the discussion. Sometimes we'll talk about one video for 2 hours, so it's incredibly long and detailed commentaries. You get access to all of this by being a patron at all. You also get access to stuff that I just post straight to Patreon sometimes just because I might make a video that I don't think is really worth releasing, but I put it on Patreon just because I think some people would be interested in it, and in that context, they might appreciate that, maybe this wasn't the most well thought out video, or I just didn't think that enough people would care about it. But, maybe you guys who just want more content will appreciate this. So, that's all the stuff you get if you're just a $1 patron. Now, if you're a $2 patron, because you're just doubling your amount, which is from little to little from your perspective, but from my perspective, I make twice as much. So, if you kick it up to $2, then you get the higher tier reruns. So basically, I've had a Patreon for quite some time. For a long while, it's had a lot of, higher tier Patreon rewards. There's a podcast called The 2 Weeks Review, for instance, that at the $5 tier has been going on for, I think, over 2 years. And so, there's a whole lot of episodes that you can go back and listen to. And as soon as you join a tier, you get access to everything that's ever been released to that tier. For as long as you remain on that tier. So there's fuck tons of these podcasts that you could listen to at the $5 tier. However, on my Patreon, if you're at the $2 tier, then anything released at any tier that is more than a year old becomes available to you. So, for instance, I used to have a $25 live stream tier where I would live stream just answering patron questions. It would be saved as a video. All of that, if it's at least a year old, is accessible to $2 patrons. Every podcast, every behind the scenes, every random fucking thing that I release to higher tier patrons. The only thing that will not be released this way is the care packages, because those are physical objects and there's no way to re-release that. But the content of the care packages, I will try to circulate if I can, though as we'll get into when we talk about those, part of the point of them is that a lot of it is content that doesn't necessarily have a place online. So, anyway, moving up from the $2 tier. At the $5 tier is the 2 Weeks Review podcast. This is a podcast that I do basically every 2 weeks. Sometimes it's late and it ends up being the 3 Weeks Review, but we just make it longer to compensate. It's usually a 90-minute podcast. And it's me and my fiance May, and we review everything we did, because we do everything together. So we just recount all of our experiences doing anything that wasn't watching anime. Because, like, we actually do talk about anime a lot of the time on the show as well, because of the fact that we watch stuff that we don't talk about in main videos. But the point of the 2 Weeks Review is anything I didn't talk about on a Digibro or Digibro After Dark video that we consumed or did, we talk about on the 2 Weeks Review. So, for instance, the latest episode was a 1.5 weeks review, because we had done so much stuff in that 1.5 weeks, where we talk about going to a St. Patrick's Day festival in Boston, where we talk about our trip to LA, different restaurants we went to, events we went to, parts of town we went to, just talking about all these places we traveled, basically. Whereas there's other episodes where we'll just be reviewing like a handful of movies or something, that we watch, like a bunch of... Back in Christmas, we did like a ton of Christmas movies, because that was what we had been watching over the holiday. So, 2 Weeks Review can be basically anything that we consumed. And then at the $7 tier is a podcast that was originally supposed to be twice a month. I've only been posting like one a month, if that, because I haven't completely figured out how I want this podcast to go yet. But it's called the Dead Projects Graveyard. And it's where I talk about projects of mine that I was working on that failed for one reason or another, but had like a lot of planning done. Like stuff where there was... the seeds of the idea are there, and there's certain like work was done for it, but at the end of the day, there's some reason that it was not possible to continue, or that I lost interest, and I kind of break down what it was supposed to be, why it couldn't be done that way, and why it had to be canceled, and just explore like what could have been, basically. I did one on the How They Marketed series, because that was a big confusing clusterfuck from last year, where like a big part of the early part of the year was me building up to the idea that I was going to do this big series called How They Marketed, and it completely fell apart. But I talk about all of the things that were supposed to happen with it, and why things went so awry as soon as I moved to Boston, basically. So yeah, you've got stories like that. That's at the $7 tier. Then if you're at the $15 tier, you get a rant. And you've probably noticed that there are these rant videos that come out often in huge droves. Now, the idea with these rants is not for them to necessarily come out in gigantic bursts the way they have been, because I can record them at any time. Like, I open up at the start of the month, I say, submit your rant topics here, and then I can just, whenever I want, release them, but I don't want them to come out in the next month. I want them to come out that month. So if I don't get all of them, if I don't have them releasing consistently over the course of the month, they're all going to have to come out on the last day, I've been trying to fix this, but every month I end up being really fucking busy with other shit, and, it's hard to just, like, set aside, especially because the room that I chose to do the rants in is freezing cold a lot of the time. So a lot of the rants just end up being done in the office anyways. But, whatever the case is, if you give me $15, I rant about whatever you want. Now, I need you to understand that $15 is a very fair trade for me to talk about something for you for like 7 minutes and to make your own video about it. But it's not a fair trade for me if I have to do a lot of research or watch a lot of shit. Like, at some point, it becomes where I can make more than this for the same amount of work, without having to consume much of it. So my policy is that I will do the bare minimum amount of research necessary to form an opinion about the thing, which does not necessarily mean consuming it. It just means just looking at enough material to have something to say, to make a video out of. And so I need to be clear about that, because I have had people who are upset that say they wanted me to review their YouTube video, and it was 30 minutes long, and I only watched 10 minutes and thought it was boring and shitty, and that was the opinion I formed, and then stopped watching the video. That's the nature of this beast. I expect people to want me to rant about things that they know I have an opinion about, that they know it would be interesting to hear me talk about, or that they are personally invested in hearing my answer to this thing, knowing that I have an opinion about it. You know, like, I can't imagine if you just tell me to, like, review something that you have an opinion about. You can't expect me to come away with any opinion at all regarding it, because I might see it completely differently from how you do. So, in any case, if you give me $15 every month, I will rant about something that you want me to rant about, as long as you've given me $15. And I release it as its own video, so you can share it at will, rewatch it as you like. It's your video. Releasing it this way, I usually bleed subscribers when I dump all these videos at once, but I get a lot of views by doing it this way. So it is beneficial for me on all fronts to release it as individual videos. I think it works out the best for everybody involved in the transaction of the videos. The only people who suffer are whichever subscribers don't like to have a lot of videos come out all at once, which I don't even know why you would care. So, in any case, yes, there's the rants, and then finally, the big daddy, the biggest one of them all, is the Digibro Care Package at $40. Now, I've been meaning to open this up to as many people as want to take this tier. I currently have it set to limited 10 people. Those spots have remained filled since I created this tier. People have dropped off. New people will usually sign up right away because there's only 10 of them. I don't know how many people would sign up for this tier. I'm not expecting that 100 people would ever sign up for this tier. That seems crazy, So, if it got up to like 30 or 40, I think I could still handle it. But, I don't want to open it up too much. So I'm opening it up to 20 as of the release of this video, because this month I have a pretty good care package. So the conceit of the care package is that I mail you an envelope once a month containing a flash drive and a Digibro art card and whatever else I happen to throw in there if I have something on hand. So the first month that I did this, there was a flash drive, a Digibro art card, which consists of a shitty drawing on one side and a shitty poem on the other side, written by me by hand. They're all numbered. They come in sets. So they're collectibles, you see. And so, like Pokemon cards. So there was also a button of my avatar, because I had Tom make those. I have not ever had time or the chance to get him to do that again. But, that was something I included. In other ones, I've put in random things like candies or just the words "I'm gay" written on a piece of paper, and then the flash drive contains a vlog of whatever I was up to that month. Sometimes I took, for instance, in the first vlog, a trip to be at the first legal marijuana dispensary on the East Coast, and the footage of that was all in the first care pack. But then last month, there was one where it was basically just 40 minutes of me at home talking about how I didn't do anything all month. So, this past month, this next one that's coming up, that's going to be distributed for March, is going to have my whole trip to LA. I have a ton of footage. All of the footage that you saw in the Otaku Gonzo Journal 001, the full clips of all that is going to be in there, including all the karaoke. So, yeah, it's going to be a big fucking LA tour vlog. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's probably one of the best of these I'll ever be able to do, which is why I want to be able to open this tier up to a few more people. And also, I might find a way to I don't know, sell this specific month's flash drive in the future if somebody wanted to buy this later. I don't know how much the exclusivity matters to people. I don't know how much they just want to have the thing. I can't imagine that there's ever going to be so many people who want this that it's worth like mass producing them. But like I could probably, if people really wanted this LA footage, sell it to them somehow. I don't know. I don't want to be so conceited as to suggest that somebody cares that much, but I know some people do. So, um, I've got this LA footage, and then usually I include a let's play where I just narrate myself playing a game. I usually try to pick a game that I have something interesting to say about its history or background, or that I've been playing lately, and like have something to say about the game while also just kind of rambling about other shit. And then I will also include a anime film commentary where May and I will watch some kind of obscure anime movie, commentate over it, put it on the flash drive. This is the kind of thing that can fall under fair use, but if I were to try to release it online, there's a good chance it would get taken down for copyright on any platform. So, that's why I say that some of the stuff that's in these flash drives is like best released as a flash drive, because even if it is defensible content, it is not content that most sites would host. Though maybe BitChute would, but that would be less interesting than getting a physical flash drive from me, anyways. So, which is signed. Then I also have, I have a let's play, a vlog, and a movie commentary, and then I usually also include a song. I don't think I did in the last care pack, because in that one I instead had this Artso Fartso vlog where I was shitting on Vic Mignogna for 20 minutes that I decided not to release because I didn't want to be a part of the controversy. But there was that instead of a song, but usually I have a song and the lyrics of the song on the flash drive. Some of those songs I might eventually release in another form. Like, I don't know how secret people want this content to remain if it can be released in another form. I really don't know. But in any case, this month's care pack will definitely include the LA footage and whatever else, is appropriate to fit in there, an art card. I don't know if anything else, but yeah, that's what you're gonna get if you decide to pay $40. So, if you do sign up for that tier, Patreon will have you enter your address information. You need to make sure it's accurate, because that's the address that I am mailing this stuff to. Also, if you pay for this month's care pack, if you pay for March, and then you decide to cancel your pledge before April, make sure you send me your address, because you will have already paid for it. Whatever package I send at the end of the month is paid for at the beginning of the month. So if you sign up for this tier and the month of April starts and Patreon charges you for April, you have paid for an April care package. So if you cancel your pledge after that point, send me your address, because Patreon is not going to keep providing it to me if you're not on the tier anymore. So, that just means I need to manufacture an extra one for the guy who fills in your slot and send you guys both the packages. But I have had people cancel and not say anything, so I don't know if they have realized that they were owed another package or if they just didn't care, if they had just lapsed into the next month and went, oops, well, I guess I'll just fork over an extra $20 or whatever before I, lower my pledge. I have no fucking idea. So, keep track of that shit. That's all my Patreon tiers. That's the current state of things. The current state of affairs. If there is demand for me to open up the care packs to a bigger audience, I definitely will. Because again, it's not that difficult to scale the product up as long as it doesn't get fucking crazy. Which I don't think it will. I don't think that many people would care to pay $40 for a flash drive of weird Digibro content. But, it's there for the people who want it. And the rants have been the most popular thing. They are fun to do. They are fun to release in a giant bomb. And as long as you understand what you're getting yourself into when you pay for it, keep that in mind. And I'm going to go through anybody who has requested a rant. I'm going to tell them, like, if I don't have anything to say about their subject, I'm going to let them know about that up front before I go into the rant. Hopefully people will tell me something else to rant about, if that is the case. So yeah, this is just a big advertisement for my Patreon. Because I'm going to be moving in about a month to Virginia Beach, probably. And I I made a big mistake when I came to Boston because I was launching into a bunch of big projects that I wasn't really talking about. And I, didn't release anything for a while because I was too busy working on big projects that weren't going to be released for a little while. And, goddamn. And we moved. I lost a lot of money on Patreon at the same time as making a down payment on the place. And as a result, I've been living like I was, like I didn't have that much money since coming to Boston. Whereas I can, fix a lot of the financial problems that I've developed by coming here by not doing it that way this time. We're moving into a cheaper place, so I'm able to put more money away in the first place. But also, my content plan going forward is not one where anything will stop because we're moving. I've been producing these Let's Argue videos in batches, so if you couldn't tell from the ones that have released, there were 5 recorded at once that Devu edited through all of, and that I've been scheduling for release, once a week, so that there is something on the main channel every week. I've already sent the next script to Devu, which is an interesting one about aesthetics that I think a lot of people will really enjoy. It's a weirder type of script that's just going to be very aesthetically driven. So that's what he's working on right now. I'm also got a script about Metroid Prime and a script about Pikmin for the I Am Games channel that will both be serious analysis videos. I don't know if anybody gives a shit about me talking about video games because the channel has never gotten a whole ton of views. But if you like Metroid Prime or Pikmin, I got scripts for you. I'd also like to finish my Log Horizon series. Obviously, Shield Hero Weekly, when me and Nate are on top of it, is a thing that happens. I'm still on the Procrastinators podcast when I can be. I am also on the I Am Games channel where I stream twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. EST. Me and Tom stream for at least 2 hours twice a week. And then we upload those streams to the I Am Games channel in the playlist tab. We also do podcasts on that channel and analysis videos. So if you're not following it, I don't know why, but that is also Digibro content. Now I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm still doing, because I mostly release everything on Digibro and Digibro After Dark. It's just easier that way. Yeah, I guess that's the current state of Digibro affairs. So there's a bunch of stuff in the pipeline, a bunch of things that are just going to continue as they have been. There's way more Digibro content coming out. People seem more satisfied with the Digibro content than usual. So I think this is a good time to tell you all, hey, if you want to toss me some money, send me some shit on Patreon so that I don't go broke trying to move. Yeah!